The past is not gone. Right now, as you read this, every moment that has ever happened still exists somewhere, and physics can prove it. The present moment you're experiencing right now, this exact second, is already becoming permanent, unchangeable, eternal, not as a memory, not as a record, as a physical reality that cannot be erased from the structure of the universe. I'm Leonard Susskind, and I want to tell you something that took me decades to fully accept, something that most physicists know but almost nobody talks about. Time doesn't work the way you think it does, not even close. You think the past is gone. You think it existed once, briefly, and then vanished as the present became the future. That's the intuitive picture. That's what every clock, every calendar, every moment of aging seems to confirm. But that picture is wrong, deeply, fundamentally, structurally wrong. And the implications of that are more profound than almost anything else in modern physics. Let me start with something simple. You remember yesterday. You remember last year. You remember moments from your childhood that feel distant, faded, almost unreal. And the natural assumption is that those moments are gone. They happened and now they don't exist anymore. They've been replaced by now. But here's what Einstein showed us and what most people never truly absorb. Time is not a river. It's not flowing from past to future, carrying the present moment forward while the past dissolves behind it. Time is a dimension, just like space. And just like space, every point in it exists simultaneously. Think about what that means. Right now, you are at a specific location in space. You're here. And somewhere else, another location in space exists. London exists, Tokyo exists, the surface of Mars exists. You're not there, but those places are real. They exist right now simultaneously with where you are. They don't stop existing just because you're not there. Time works exactly the same way. Every moment in time exists simultaneously. The past is not gone. It's just somewhere else in the four-dimensional structure of space-time. Yesterday exists, 10 years ago exists, the moment you were born exists, not as a memory, not as a record, as a physical location in the geometry of the universe. This is what physicists call the block universe, or eternalism. The idea that past, present, and future all exist equally, simultaneously, as a single four-dimensional structure. The universe is not happening, it already happened. All of it. Every moment from the Big Bang to the heat death of the universe exists as a single, complete, eternal block of space-time, and you, right now, are simply located at one specific point within it. But here's where it gets deeply unsettling. If the past still exists, if every moment is equally real, then what is the present? What is this feeling of now? Why do we experience time as flowing, as moving forward, as having a definite present moment? This is one of the deepest questions in all of physics, and the honest answer is we don't fully know. Einstein himself found it troubling. When his lifelong friend Michel Besso died, Einstein wrote a letter to the Besso family saying something extraordinary. He wrote that Besso had departed from this strange world a little ahead of him, but that meant nothing. For physicists, the distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. A stubbornly persistent illusion. Those words came from the man who gave us relativity, the man who understood time better than almost anyone who has ever lived, and he called the flow of time an illusion. So what creates that illusion? Why do we experience now as special as the only real moment if past and present and future all equally exist? The answer comes from thermodynamics, from entropy, from the arrow of time. The universe started in an extraordinarily low entropy state at the Big Bang, highly ordered, highly structured, and it's been evolving toward higher entropy, higher disorder ever since. Your memories exist because your brain encodes information about the past. Your sense of moving forward in time exists because entropy increases in one direction. But here's the crucial point. The increase of entropy doesn't mean the past disappears. It just means the past is different from the future, more ordered, lower entropy. The direction of time is real, but the existence of past and future moments is equally real. They all exist. The arrow just tells you which direction things evolve. But let me take you even deeper, because special relativity adds something that makes this even stranger, something that most people find genuinely disturbing when they first encounter it. In relativity, there is no universal present moment, no single now that applies to everyone everywhere. Two observers moving at different velocities will disagree about which events are simultaneous. What is present for you is past or future foe, or someone else moving at a different speed. This is not a measurement error. This is not a limitation of our instruments. This is the fundamental structure of space-time. Simultaneity is relative. The present moment is observer-dependent. And this means that for any event in your past, there exists some observer in the universe for whom that event is happening right now. Your first day of school, the moment you met someone you love, the worst day of your life. For some observer moving at the right velocity relative to you, those moments are present, happening now, not memories, not history, now. This is what the Reet-Dyke-Putnam argument shows. If simultaneity is relative, and if all simultaneous events are equally real, then all events, past, present, and future, must be equally real. The block universe isn't just a philosophical preference. It's a logical consequence of special relativity. Now here's the paradox that should be keeping you awake. If the past still exists, if it's a real physical location in space-time, why can't we go there? Why does time feel like a one-way street? Why can we move freely through space in any direction but seem locked into moving forward through time? The honest answer is that we don't fully understand this. General relativity allows, mathematically, for closed time-like curves, paths through space-time that loop back on themselves. Time travel, in principle, is not forbidden by the equations. What forbids it in practice seems to be thermodynamics, causality, and possibly quantum mechanics. But the deeper point is this: the inability to travel to the past doesn't mean the past doesn't exist. You can't travel to the Andromeda Galaxy either, not in any practical sense. But it exists. The past is the same, physically real, geometrically present in the structure of space-time, permanently, irrevocably there. And here's what this means for everything you've ever experienced, every moment of your life that has passed, every conversation, every loss, every moment of joy, every ordinary Tuesday afternoon that seemed to mean nothing. All of it exists right now, permanently, in the four-dimensional block of space-time that is the universe, the people you've lost, the moments you wish you could return to, the version of you that existed 10 years ago, uncertain about the future, living through something that felt temporary. That version of you still exists at that location in space-time. That moment is still happening eternally at its coordinate in the block universe. It didn't end. You just moved away from it the way you move away from a city without the city ceasing to exist. Now let me tell you why this matters beyond the philosophy, beyond the comfort or the strangeness of it. It matters because it changes how we understand causality, how we understand free will, how we understand the nature of change itself. If the block universe is real, if past, present, and future all exist simultaneously, then change is an illusion in a very specific sense. Things don't change. The universe doesn't evolve. It simply is. Four-dimensional, complete, eternal. What we call change is just the difference between different time slices of the block, different locations in the temporal dimension. Your aging isn't you changing. It's different versions of you existing at different temporal locations, each one real, each one permanent. This is deeply counterintuitive. It feels wrong. It conflicts with every experience we have of time flowing, of moments passing, of things genuinely changing and ending. But the mathematics of relativity doesn't care about our intuitions. It says what it says, and what it says is that the past is as real as the present. And here's the question that I find most profound, the one I keep returning to even after 50 years of thinking about these problems. If every moment of your life still exists somewhere in the block universe, if the past is as real and as present as right now, then what does it mean to lose something? What does it mean for something to end? In the deepest physical sense, nothing ends. Things recede. They become located at earlier temporal coordinates, but they remain permanently fixed in the geometry of space-time, unchangeable, eternal. The universe is not a story being told. It is a story that has already been told completely from beginning to end, existing all at once in its full four-dimensional glory, and you, right now, experiencing this moment as special, as now, as real, are simply located at one page of that story, reading it forward, unable to flip back, but the earlier pages still exist, every word on them permanent and real. That's not a comforting thought exactly. It's stranger than comfort. It's stranger than religion or mythology or philosophy managed to imagine. It's the actual structure of reality as best as we understand it. The past still exists, not as memory, not as record, as geometry, as physical fact, as permanent features of the FE, four-dimensional universe we inhabit. And the version of you that existed 10 years ago, that existed yesterday, that existed 1 second ago, that version is still there at its location in space-time. Real, permanent, existing, just not here.